Pastor, the Pelletiers and Murrays left Phoenix, then boarded Royal Jordanian Air in Chicago. Laura boarded United Airlines in Newark, New York, and arrived earlier than anyone. The group from Westgate left from Seattle. We all met in Tel Aviv the next morning. The view from our rooms at the luxury Island Suites Hotel, Tel Aviv, Israel. What a nice view of the Mediterranean Sea. Our first stop on the first day took us to Caesarea Palestina, or Maratima. The ancient name in the Arabic still clings to the ruins on the seashore about 30 miles north of Jaffa. It was built by Herod the Great on the site of Strato's Tower, and the name Caesarea Sebasti was given it in honor of Augustus. With his usual magnificence, Herod lavished adornments on the city. He erected sumptuous palaces and public buildings, a theater, an amphitheater with prospect to the sea, while a spacious system of sewers under the city secured cleanliness and health. Acts 12:21-24 says, "And upon a set day Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration to them. And the people gave a shout, saying, 'It is the voice of a God and not of a man.' And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory." For those among us who enjoy old movies, the setting recalls the chariot races of Ben-Hur, 50 meters wide and 400 meters long. You could seat 13,000 spectators here and watch the chariots careen around Herod's hippodrome, the horse course, at lightning speed and deafening hooves. Typically, we in the West consider a manger to be made out of wood. Here is a sarcophagus. Here are some pictures of the Roman aqueduct at Maratima. Now therefore send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people, and said, How long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. 1 Kings 18:19-22. And Elijah said unto all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, Do it the third time. And they did it the third time. And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell, and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in. The circle with lines was the old way of indicating the various mountains and valleys, hamlets and towns around the area. The new way is seen by the signs against the outer wall. A Byzantine church was built over the place where it's believed that the angel Gabriel announced the birth of Jesus to the Virgin Mary. In 1966, the Roman Catholic Church began constructing a new basilica over these remains, and today this church is the largest church building in the Middle East. The Greek Orthodox Church nearby is built over the town's water source. Isaiah 11:1 says, "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots."
Right on it, you can see that there is a square carved out here, a little channel, and then a tank. None of these are natural formations, quite obviously. This is the wine press. Okay, they would bring the grapes from those terraces. They were all sewn up there. No, it's not the grape season really, so you can't see any of them. But bring them out here, take off their shoes, hopefully wash their feet really well, but we don't know. And then they would start stepping on the grapes and doing that process that we've seen on movies and whatever. And the wine would flow through this little channel into this tank, and from this tank it would be scooped out to be stored away in a new wine skin so that it could expand and
Here is depicted for us the shepherd and his sheep. Wool from the sheep, spinning and dyeing wool from the sheep. It takes several days. Singing I go along life's road. Here's a reenactment of traveling through Nazareth at Maratima. We learned that the carpenter not only Here is a replica of the synagogue at Nazareth. What do you think? Does Mike make a pretty good Kohen? There are 3 pressings at an olive press, the second and third press.
Hello, my name is Majd and I'm one of the guides at Nazareth Village. We are standing in our fully functioning replica of a 1st century olive press. We are entering the rainy season at the moment. November and December, and this is the olive season, so our villagers already started harvesting the olives off of the trees, and we bring them in here in order to press them. Of course, olives are hard. You cannot just press them right away. The first thing you do in the process is crushing them, and that's what we use this big stone over here. Mosey, the donkey, is helping us move the stone around, and this stone will crush the olives and the pits. Everything needs to be crushed so finely until it turns into paste, and then it's ready for the next stage of pressing. The crushed olives then are placed in baskets like the one you see over here. We're hanging it on the wall, but of course you lay it flat, and then there are pockets to the sides where you put the crushed olives, preparation for the actual pressing process. And then you take about 10-15 baskets to press them together at the press. Now the baskets are brought over here and stacked on top of each other. Underneath them there's a hole in the ground that is about 2 feet deep, and it gets also a bit wider as it goes in. So as you press the baskets over here, oil is going to gather underneath. The beam of wood sits on top of the baskets, applying its weight as pressure, and then the 3 weights, the stone weights, are lifted using pulleys and leverage in order to apply more pressure on top of the baskets. Each group of baskets gets pressed 3 times. The first time you apply pressure, you get the best quality oil. And according to the Jewish law, the first of your fruits you offer to God. So the oil from the first pressing, they will not use at home. They will take it to the temple in Jerusalem. The second time they applied pressure, they got good quality oil, and it was used for food, medicine, perfume, and cosmetics. By the time they got to the third pressing, though, the quality of the oil was really bad, and they would use it for oil lamps and making soap. The olive press has a very strong connection with Gethsemane. The word Gethsemane comes from 2 Hebrew words, Gat Shmanim, and they literally mean press of oils. And the olive press is a great illustration of the pressure that Jesus was under as he was praying in Gethsemane, to the point he even started sweating blood. And he prayed 3 times, an equal number to the pressings. And even Isaiah 53 says he was crushed for our iniquities.